Hey guys, this is Jella and welcome back to my channel. We are now part 2 in our Korean town series where we are making an inspiration of Sangmun-dong, Seoul. We will be making a Korean restaurant in an apartment building for today's video. If you want to build this too, then keep on watching. So for this part 2, we will be making the first building here in our Korean town. So I'm just gonna make this apartment building with the textures of brick wall. This is the usual commercial and apartment buildings that I have seen when I was looking up for an inspiration of Sangmun-dong. I used the rust color and just adjusted it a bit lighter. But if you don't have a color wheel, you can just use the rust color. For this building, I will be making it 3-story high, and the floors 2 and 3 would be apartments. But in this video, I won't be doing the interior of the apartment. Rather, we will just leave it empty as I am just focusing on the restaurant. I always use this commercial glass door for shops and restaurants and been quite my favorite door. Now go to decorations and frames, and we will use the full wall painting and the plain huge painting. For the full wall, I will be adding a decal poster of the food that are being served in this restaurant. And for the huge painting, I'm rescaling it to fit the width of this building. This will be used for the logo of the restaurant. I moved the full wall painting next to the commercial door, and we will be adding a large panel window on the side. I love how it looks quite similar to some of the restaurants in Korea. I changed the decals so you can picture out how this goes. All the decals I made will be in the description box. Now recolor the back side of the painting so it would match with the basic cube we will be placing it on. Grab a basic cube and resize it to the widest possible. Now all we do is adjust the height to fit the logo we made. I changed the grid line to the smallest when I am resizing the cube so the adjustments would be minimal. Now that the height is perfect, color the cubes to match the logo and then duplicate it before placing down the logo painting. Now go to the upper level and add a floor where we can place down the logo we made. Use the medium grid line when placing down the logo cube so it would fit perfectly and stick close to the wall. After you place down the logos, you can delete the floor, and that is how it would look like. If you have the transform tool, you can just transform the cubes upwards. But since we don't have a transform tool, there are still a lot of simple ways to do it. Now going inside the restaurant, we will be using a basement Gamepass. All you need is a flat roof and then go to the basement and place down the flat roof. Now adjust the arrow in the middle and raise the floor a bit. If you do not have a basement Gamepass, you can use a cube and resize it to make a raised flooring. If you don't have an advanced placing, you can leave the floor as is. Add a 3x3 square room at the left corner for our small kitchen area. And then I just colored the walls light stone gray with the plaster texture. For the floors, I used the wooden deck tiles and colored this on the shade of linen. For the entrance floor, I used a tile texture and just recolored this cloudy gray. Now we will be adding paintings on the left wall for the menu board. This is from a restaurant menu that I just uploaded as a decal. So adjust the width of the poster to fit 3 of this on this wall. Then add a large clear window frame and adjust the width a bit and lessen the height of the frame. I will be making the kitchen open since the servers would just grab the orders from this window. Since we cannot add a window on the back wall because of another building, we will just make it a wall with food posters. I used the square painting and adjust to make it a smaller square. For our tables and chairs, since this is a small family-owned restaurant, we will just use this simple square table and the ladder back diner chair. I'm gonna color this to wooden brown as well as the dining table. I also changed the texture of the seat cushion to a carpet texture. Now we can duplicate this and fill this row with tables for a group of 4. I'm gonna use this straw dispenser and make this a chopstick holder. A lot of Korean restaurants that I have been to, well, not in Korea, just here in the Philippines, they have this chopstick holder on the side. So I'm gonna add that in each table, as well as some napkins. We also now have chopsticks in game, so I'm just gonna place a few on a table to pretend that this table has customers dining in. If you have watched a lot of Korean drama, you know that every time they go to any restaurants, there would be a drink on the side. So I used this hot sauce bottle and recolor this green, and I think it kinda resembles one hee. I placed down a single square table by the entrance and just add a fence railing to make a separation and for safety of the customer not falling down hee. We have this wall empty and I tried adding a dining table here, but it doesn't look good to be in there since there is an open window from the kitchen. So instead, I'm just adding a small table with some water dispenser, more chopsticks and utensils, some extra bowls, and sauce condiments. This area would be an easy access for customers and servers. I'm adding another logo painting below the kitchen window. So I used this square painting and resized it. I'm just adding a small trash bin on the side because we will have the main trash bin inside the kitchen. Okay, let's move to the kitchen and I'm making the flooring to checkered tiles. You can leave it as black and white, but I'm going to make it more into brownish side. Then I used a kitchen door and colored this the same dark gray as the entrance door. You can also adjust where you place the door if you have an advanced placing Gamepass. I just placed it above the raised flooring on the dining area. For the counters, I just used the plain one, but you can use whichever you like. I'm adding 2 counters on the window side for prepping and then 1 counter at the back wall for the washing area. I placed the fridge on the rightmost and the stove in the middle. I used this cheap stove, but if you feel like spending more, you can use the commercial stove. I recolored the stove and fridge to grayish metal, and then placed a large range hood above it since this is a restaurant kitchen. I added some shaker overhead cabinets on the back wall for microwave and other kitchen clutters. And speaking of clutters, I just copied the bowls that we have and you can fill up this kitchen whichever you may like to add. I will be adding a few kitchen clutters and hope that we don't go overboard so that the plot data can be used for the other buildings hee. I love adding a few food clutters, so let's just add a chopping board on the back counter, and I'm adding a pretend cucumber being chopped using the rolled napkin. Also adding some boxes of ingredients and other stuff used in the kitchen. Now search up for board and then add one in here. Resize to fit this wall. You can add your own decal posters if you like, but I'll just add one here and some important reminders or ingredient notes. I'm also adding this rolling trash can, but place it here in the spot since it perfectly fits here. And since we have no extra room, let's leave the cleaning supply by the door. I'm also adding this rubber mat in the middle of the kitchen and one in front of the kitchen window. Okay, let's add some lighting in here, and I'm gonna use this elderly lamp because it fits the old building type of vibe. You can adjust the brightness of the light, and I'll just make it a bit warm on the shades of yellow. See how the color of your light changes the whole vibe of the place. So make sure to color the bulb to a shade of your choice, making it warm or cool depending on your preference. I also added a ceiling trim that I colored to wooden brown, just to finish off the walls. And I added this umbrella stand by the entrance. Also added a floor plant to add some greenery in here, but mind you, that plant is only artificial hee. I also added this wall-mounted TV, which is super timely because this is the vibes we are going for. I'm just adding some more clutters in the kitchen. Okay, now let's finish off this commercial building by adding the remaining walls going to the apartment on the above floors. I just copied the brick wall that we have and then colored the inner wall to light stone gray. I'm going to make the building into 3-story high. For now, I will be leaving the apartment rooms empty. I won't be adding any room dividers. We will see how the plot data goes if we can fill this apartments. Anyways, for the flooring, I used the horizontal wood planks and colored it to oyster. Now add this plain stairs and resize this to fill in 2 square wide. Recolor this the same as the floor. Now add a flooring to the second level because we will place down the stairs, and I'm using the deck stairs so the bottom part of the stairs is empty. Resize this to 2 square wide and copy the color of the flooring. Then delete the flooring we added earlier and make a new flooring for the walkway. And then add a normal flooring to the third level since that will be the last floor of this building. For the fence railing, I'm using the plain short fence and color this the same as the wall. We have an empty space on the ground floor, so I will just make a small public toilet for the customers of the restaurant. I don't have any more wall space to put a door from the restaurant, so if there are customers going to the toilet, they would just have to go out of the restaurant and enter this building just to use the toilet. Okay, this is the plainest toilet I have ever built, so just toilet bowl, a sink, and mirror. That's it. I'm just adding standard doors for the apartment rooms, which is of course empty. I forgot that we still haven't done the roof of this building, OMG. Anyways, I just used a flat roof and extended a bit. Color the roof to black with overlapping panel texture. Then add another layer of mansard roof. Okay, now we will add some windows on the staircase side. So I'm using this horizontal window and place 3 on each floor. As for the apartment rooms, we will use the medium panel window and color this the same as the windows from the restaurant. I'm also going to resize this window a bit smaller. Since we placed a window, you can see the inside of the building that is empty. So we are just gonna add a curtain to hide the empty-looking interior. I'm gonna use the cheapest curtain and exit build mode to close it. Then you can now place it on the window and color this to black. You can color the windows differently so it would look like there is someone renting that room. But for now, I just colored this black and leave it empty looking. Then add some lighting on the staircase of the apartment building. I used the sleek ceiling light and again I made the lighting to yellowish shade to make it look on the warmer side. If it is too bright for you, you can adjust and use the other color shades of linen or hurricane gray. I added 2 sleek ceiling light on each hallway floor, and 1 on the third level. Now copy the horizontal windows and place them on the sides of the building. Since we cannot leave the side of the building empty, I'm gonna add this large industrial pipe and place 4 of this vertically. This is a great addition if you like to add more detail to your builds and not leave the side empty looking. For the other side of the building, I'm just copying the windows and place 2 on each floor as well. Now for additional details, we are adding an air condition unit for the apartments on the second and third level. I colored this institutional white and then add a vertical plank to the back side. Resize this to fill the whole back so we can place a round decal frame. Color the plank institutional white with stain texture, and then place the round decal and resize it. You can search for air conditioner decal. Now look at that air conditioner. It looks realistic at the back, right? I'm gonna place it in front of the building instead so that the building would have more details to it. Going back to the other side, I'm adding this dumpster for the restaurant and let's add a few trash bags on the side. And I'm adding a rubber mat in front of the restaurant as well. Okay, now we will add an apartment logo signage above the doorway of the building. Now don't buy this square painting as I will be replacing that with a different painting, so just save your money. Anyways, I'm using this oak shelf and use the large grid line to place the shelf on the middle of the door. Then reside the shelf, the same as the door. Now place a basic cube and resize that the same size as the shelf and half the thickness. As you can see, the square painting didn't really match the size of the signage I was making. So I will be deleting that later. But for now let me show you how we make the vertical signage posters on the buildings. Now this is why I was thinking of the plot data, because we will be using a lot of basic cubes and decal frames for this. We will be adding posters and signages on the other buildings that we will be making as well. So here I used a basic cube and a plain large painting. Rescale the painting and make it slimmer and set aside. Now rescale the cube the same height as the painting. Once you get the exact height of the painting, make the cube to the thinnest possible and then place back the painting. Change the color of the cube and the painting to black. And then copy the painting and put it on the back side as well. Now we can just duplicate this later on. Now get a small square beam and we will connect the signage to the wall. Don't worry if it kinda looks crooked. Try your best to make it leveled as possible. I don't have transform tool, so I cannot adjust the angle, but if you have one, it would be much easier to adjust and not look wobbly. I think the signage is looking alright. We can now duplicate it and place it on the third level as well. So this posters that I will be adding are decals that I made for the apartment signage and the restaurant signage. You may also not do this if you don't have an advanced placing Gamepass. But if you do, adding the signages makes the building look fuller. Now back to the apartment signage on the entrance door. I colored the cube and oak shelf to white and then replaced the painting to the huge painting. Resize this to fit the cube we added. And since I cannot make the height of the painting smaller, I have to adjust the height of the cube to fit the painting. Now add the decals, and again, I always put the decals in the description box. And here is our first commercial building in our Korean town. And part 2 is done. I super love how this turned out. So the plot value right now is $107,000. Oh my days. This town is going to be the most expensive one that I have built for sure. But this is how the exterior looks like right now. We have the restaurant on the corner and then the apartment entrance on the left. Love how the air condition units look like right now. And then on the side we have the garbage bin and the pipeline. I'll just show you guys how the windows on the side looks like. I find it super cute since you can see from outside how the restaurant looks like. So this is the front. I copied how Korean restaurants have food posters outside. So let's go inside, and here we have like a raised flooring. I wanted to have that elevated. So we have the umbrella stand on the side. And this are the menu that you can also choose from. We have here some water jugs, more bowls, and sauce condiments that customers can use. And this is the dining area. I also used this pot of curry, but let's pretend that this is a yukgaejang or Korean spicy beef soup. I love how warm and nostalgic this looks like. One thing that I like going to family-owned restaurants is that it feels homey. I also added this wall-mounted TV because this gives off the 90s vibes, right? And that is what I'm going for. So let's go to the kitchen, and this is just a small kitchen, nothing fancy. So this is the prepping counter. We have lots of the plates and bowls in here. We have 2 stoves on the side, and then the dishwashing counter at the back. The kitchen has a large window in front where the servers get the food orders that they serve. So that is our small family-owned restaurant. Alright, let me show you the empty apartment building. So this is the signage that we made. It just says apartment. So this entrance door is kind of open because there is a common toilet in this ground floor for the customers and owner of the restaurant. But this is the staircase leading to the apartment rooms. All these rooms are empty though. But look at the view from here. I didn't realize how this building probably has the best view of the whole town. And these are the signages that we made earlier. The bottom one just says apartment entrance, and the other one is for the Korean restaurant. Again, these rooms are empty. But yeah, this is how our Korean town looks like so far. Anyways, that is the end of part 2 in our Korean town series. Thank you guys for watching. I would appreciate your support by giving this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest videos I upload. Help me reach my goal of 10,000 subs. This would help me a lot, especially in making future videos for you all. Love you guys. All the build information and decal codes will be in the description box. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, or night. Love you all and take care. See you on my next video.